The law of honor says who you choose to honor determines your success. You ever heard anybody say, don't burn any bridges? Now, it does not mean you stay attached to people who do not line up with your principles, your values, and your morals. But how you depart is more important that you depart. How you move forward is more important than whatever it is you think you're going to gain by moving forward. Who you honor determines your success. There may be somebody in your past that you have dishonored, and you know deep down inside. Now, you may have told the story to 52 million people about how they did you wrong, but you know you had some skin in that muddy game too. You know that you may have done some things to trigger something. Let me give you one example. I always tell people this. I say, listen, never worry about giving too much because nobody can use you. There are people who told me, well, don't tell them this. They're just going to use you. Well, don't do that. They're just going to use you. Well, guess what? If I don't tell you what I'm doing, if I don't show everything I got, how am I going to know how far I can go? I'm not getting into any situation with anybody where I'm only going to give 5 when I know I got 10. I'm not going anywhere where I'm only going to give 15 if I know I got 35. I'm going to give it all I got because you only get one chance to make a first impression. Now, here's what happens. If that person does something to dishonor the agreement, the contract, or the relationship, then now I know how to activate my non-negotiable principles and establish boundaries and then issue consequences. Okay? So who you choose to honor when you are doing the best that you can, what you're doing is you are serving. Colossians 3:23 says, work as if you're working for the Lord and not for men. So when you go into something and you expect the best, then give your best and give honor when and where it is due. Even if you have to leave, don't rebel. Rebellion, the Bible says, is like witchcraft. If you want to leave, just walk away, move on. Say you made a new decision, but you don't have to go out swinging and fighting and putting yourself in a position where you do not have honor. The law of the seed. The law of the seed says this: seed plus expectation equals harvest. Some of you are planting seeds that will never get to the next level because you don't even expect it to grow. You are planting the seed and you don't believe it's going to happen. You must believe that that seed is going to manifest into your season of reaping. You must believe it even when it don't look like it, when people tell you it's not going to happen. Everybody told me I couldn't do it, but look at me now. People are laughing, but who got the last laugh now? So you want not just the last laugh, but you want the last elevation. Seed plus expectation equals harvest. And the harvest is here and the time is now. And it is your season to exercise the laws of abundance because more money doesn't solve a money problem. Go and get what God has for you. Go to asklynn.org. So what is the action of the day? What is the word of the hour? The action of the day is to be you so you can do you. Be you. The law of difference says that there's something different about you. And that difference, if you embrace it, manifest it, nurture it, and invest in it, that difference is going to determine who pursues you. There were many different social media platforms out there. I don't even remember them all. But then Facebook came along. There were many different versions of computers that were out there. But then Bill Gates came up with software called Microsoft, and IBM came up with a machine, and Apple came up with things that were different. It decides who pursues you. Now, the action is to be you so you can do you. And in doing you, apply the laws of abundance. Let's go through all of them. The law of difference, we just talked about that. It says that your difference decides your importance and who pursues you. The law of the mind says your mind is your greatest asset. Do you have more money in your closet than in your house, or in your house than you have in your mind? If so, then we've got to figure out where we're going to now place our investments. We're also going to take action on that knowledge. And finally, we're going to choose how we apply that knowledge. We're going to use good, positive, loving, open energy. with the knowledge that we get. The law of recognition says everything you need is near you, merely waiting on your recognition. The law of two says two are necessary for multiplication. One can slay 1,000, but two can slay 10,000. Go and get a partner. Teamwork makes the dream work. The law of place says where you are is just as important as what you are. And within God's vision, there is provision. And that vision may also mean a place for you. Okay? The law of honor says who you choose to honor determines your success. I say dishonor no one. Disagree agreeably. Don't burn any bridges. And the law of the seed says seed plus expectation equals harvest. So the word of the hour is Jeremiah 29:11, where God says, I have plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Hope and a future. So your present today doesn't have to be your tomorrow. Your past, you can't change it, but you can make a new decision today. And I am here. I am with you. I am ready. The harvest is here. The time is now. The season is yours. The reaping is yours. It is all yours for the taking. Doesn't matter what you did. Doesn't matter what you didn't do. What matters is what you do right now. Go and get everything that God has for you and apply the laws of abundance. So you're trying to get to the next level financially, but you don't know what you're doing. Let me tell you something. I have 3 simple steps. Number 1, you have to spend less money. If you have $1,000, you can't spend $2,000. If you have $50,000, you can't spend $60,000. If you have $100,000, you can't spend $200,000. It's just as simple as that. But it's not that simple, right? Because a lot of people are living from check to 2 o'clock. You're not even making it to the next payday. So in my book, Living Check to Monday, the real deal about money, credit, and financial security, I've been there, done that. I tell you all about it. You can also join the 21 Days to Financial Freedom and use that book to help you along. The next thing you have to do, number 2, is to get more money. So you're spending less money, but you don't have any. That means you got to go get some more. So in my book, The Symphony, a guide to creating and balancing multiple streams of income, I tell you all about how to use your gifts and your talents to build a symphony of income streams. The last thing you have to do is get your money back. That means when you spend your money on your cell phone, your car, and hundreds of other things, you get a bigger tax refund. In my book, Get Your Money Back, we do just that. Bankruptcy is not the end of the world. I have gone through bankruptcy not once, but twice. I helped a lady with 4 bankruptcies and 2 foreclosures overcome her credit issues. She got into a house with a low interest rate and a low down payment, and she was able to rebuild her life and become financially free. So if I can do it, if she can do it, you can too. Here's a few things that you need to know about bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is what wealthy people use to preserve wealth. Let me repeat. Bankruptcy is what wealthy people use to preserve wealth. Wealthy people will say, my cash flow is going to be down to $500 million in the next 6 months. So I need to reorganize. I need to take advantage of the laws so that I do not lose all of my wealth. Poor people think that bankruptcy came from Satan. They think bankruptcy is bad. So by the time broke people and poor people get to the bankruptcy court, broke was 27 stages ago. You have gone through your savings, your 401k, you have maxed out your credit cards, you've gone through all the equity and all of your assets like your real estate, and now there's nothing left. You get to the bottom of the barrel and bankruptcy is the only choice that you have. You do not need to be afraid of bankruptcy. Now, am I telling everybody to go file bankruptcy? Absolutely not. The last time I filed bankruptcy, I was resolved and I was repentant and I was humble, and I said, what do I need to do differently? So when I filed that bankruptcy, I got rid of all the debt. I did not keep any of the debt because I didn't want to be selective about which debt I was going to keep. But if you need to file bankruptcy, do not be confused, because let me help you understand this. First of all, if they are coming to get your car, right, and you have been hiding your car in your cousin Pookie's garage, you might need to go on and file bankruptcy, because if they come and repossess your car, they're still going to want the money. Now, if you didn't have the money to pay for the car when you could drive it, how are you going to pay for the car when you don't have the car and you can't drive it? So if you are being threatened with a repossession, you might need to think about filing bankruptcy. If your bill collectors are calling you from 1722, okay, 200 years ago, you thought they were gone, you thought they forgot, but they did not, they are popping up again, you just might need to file bankruptcy. If they are coming to foreclose on your house, if someone is threatening you with a garnishment or judgment, then you may need to think about filing bankruptcy. Don't let the hammer fall down on you and then have to try to recover. One of my dear friends, God rest her soul, she filed bankruptcy before she ever made a late payment. She contacted me. She said, Lynn, listen, things are not going well. I have been robbing Peter to pay Paul. I've been using the money off of this credit card to pay that credit card, getting money from this credit card to pay that credit card. And I am no longer going to be able to balance any of this at all. So before she ever made one late payment, she filed bankruptcy, and guess what? Her credit scores went up from the 700s to the 800s. Because here's the deal. The bankruptcy itself does not make your credit score go down. It's all the things that happened prior to the bankruptcy. It's the late payment on the car, the late payment on the mortgage, the late payment on the credit cards, the late payment on your installment debt. That is what makes you go into a bad credit score situation. It's the judgment, it's the collection, it's the medical bills, it's the things that actually hit your credit report that make your credit score drop, not the bankruptcy itself. If you think you're never going to be able to get a good job, if you think you're never going to be able to recover, if you think you're never going to be able to do anything after bankruptcy, let me tell you something. Those are all myths. First of all, look at the person who's run this country, right? So bankruptcy is not something that will block you from doing the things that you want to do. As a matter of fact, you can get a bankruptcy and you can file a petition, a Chapter 13, and you can buy a house in a year. You can buy a house in 2 years, depending on what kind of bankruptcy you just filed. You can get a car. You can rebuild your life after bankruptcy. Bankruptcy is not the end of the world. Do not believe the hype. Do not let people tell you that it can't be done. Get knowledge, get educated. Join my class, How to Bounce Back After Bankruptcy and Build Wealth. I'll see you in class.